What's up, grapplers? I'm Brandon Quick, co-host of today's show and co-owner of the American Grappling Federation. I'm excited to bring you another episode. If you haven't seen last week's episode, go check that out. But this week, we're going to be talking about the Boise, Miami, and Springfield results, the 2024 rule changes, catching up with my partner Chris about what ratings is, the AGF Europe in 2023 and 2024 so far, and Team AGF, how to get sponsored. All right, so let's start the show off with the Boise results so far. And Boise was a tournament that brought up a good question that comes up a lot, and that is under one roof. We'll get to that in just a second. But in Boise, it looks like the overall team was Valiant Jiu-Jitsu out of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. I recently did a Coach Josiah interview in Coeur d'Alene. Check that out on our YouTube on a recent AGF Travels episode that I just did. But it looks like Valiant came down from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and did great down in Boise. So they won Kids Gi. Gracie Baja got second in Kids Gi, and Alliance got third. Kids No Gi again was Valiant, and then we had Gracie Baja and Alliance. In Adult Gi, Gracie Baja won Adult Gi, and Vital BJJ got second, and Alliance got third. Adult No-Gi, Straight Blast Gym Idaho, SBG Idaho got first, Alliance got second, and Connection Rio got third. So what I was going to talk about with the under one roof, I want you guys to please comment in the message or the message in the comments below. But something that comes up very often is the affiliation. Where do you stand on the affiliation being collected as team points? For example, I have an affiliation myself. I'm a black belt. I have other black belts underneath me. I have my own network underneath me. But there's other ones like, every school out there from Machado, Gracie Baja, Alliance. We could use any one of 1,000 jiu-jitsu schools out there. But what I'm getting at is we can combine schools together under one banner where we can have multiple schools that are not the same brick and mortar, but the same team, and their team points are added up at a tournament. And so then this makes it difficult for a gym that is a standalone gym that is or not bringing in a bunch of affiliates, right? And that is only representing themselves. It makes it very difficult for them to be able to win team trophies versus people who have an affiliation and are collecting team points with multiple schools. So it's a big question right now. My partner and I talk about it a lot. We get complaints from a lot of schools that have bullseye students. They throw bullseyes. They hit gold medal, gold medal, gold medal, gold medal. And if it was under one roof, that school would win the tournament. But because we still allow affiliation, collecting of points, that still allows teams to collect points that way. There's also big teams and something to be said for having a team and multiple schools representing one flag. And then when you go into there, but I guess each building itself would have to represent its own location. But let me know where you stand. Should we collect under one roof team points, or should we collect affiliation points? Anyhow, because that came up because I heard a comment from Coach Josiah from Valiant Jiu-Jitsu coming down and saying that they had to combat for Gracie Baja gyms, for example, combining team points, and they have one school with Valiant, and so they did win the overall, and they did win enough points to do that. But that's one of their concerns, and it's definitely not the first time that we've heard it. So where do you stand on the situation? Do we collect affiliation points, or do we do under one roof, or do we do both and give out trophies for both? We've actually talked about that before as well. And then we have Miami. Dude, okay, I've been to Miami. I live in Tampa, but I ran Miami is what I'm saying as well too. It is hands down the loudest, not the venue, but the people, the city, the crowd is absolutely the loudest. I've had to make beanbag rules because of it, with coaches throwing in because of they're excited and fired. There's people screaming. It is actually a really large open convention center connected to the airport area with a hotel. So if you're ever interested in flying into our Miami event, go ahead and do that, because you don't even have to rent a car. It's right there next to the airport, and has a hotel as well. But it's a big, huge convention area is what I'm getting at. So it's not a tight space with a bunch of people screaming. So shout out to the people that worked Miami and that had never been there before. Um, we had a great turnout there too. I think it was our largest one in Miami. It's really growing, and shout out to the crew that has helped grow that market over there. Anyways, in kids no-gi for Miami, we had Ivy League BJJ take it. In second place, we had Carlson Gracie Miami, and in third place we had Base Martial Arts. Kids BJJ, we had Carlson Gracie Miami win, Base Martial Arts get second, and Arise Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu get third. So shout out to the kids teams out there taking home team trophies. For adult no-gi, Freedom Fighters got first place in adult no-gi over Fight Sports in second place, and American Top Team in third. So adult gi takes, or for first place, Fight Sports takes first in adult gi. Freedom Fighters takes second in adult gi, and Hilly and Gracie takes third. So Freedom Fighters and Fight Sports in a battle for first and second there in the adult divisions. But ultimately, it was Freedom Fighters who won the Miami Championships. So definitely a Fight Sports headquarters, an American Top Team headquarters. Miami's a hotbed of a bunch of gyms, but looks like Freedom Fighters has definitely won the overall and was kicking and scratching the whole way there with other team awards as well too. So shout out to the people who competed and the coaches that participated for the team awards in Miami. Springfield, Missouri. And I definitely have to say Missouri because a lot of people don't realize that it's Missouri and not Illinois or whatever other state that has Springfield in it. It seems like all 50 states in America have the city Springfield in it, but it's definitely Springfield, Missouri. We go to Kansas City, Springfield, and St. Louis, Missouri. But I've actually taught in Springfield, been all over Springfield myself. My partner Chris has friends there. I've ran a bunch of events in Springfield. I absolutely love it. Can't wait to go back. Shout out to my friends and people out there. But at the Springfield Open, we had Kids Nogi, Calterra, Springfield, which is most likely, I believe, Brian Stubner's gym out there. And then you had Republic Martial Arts Academy in second place, and Gracie Baja O'Fallon. Kids Gi, again, won by Calterra Association Springfield. And then second place was Zenith BJJ, and then third place, Gracie Baja O'Fallon. Adult Nogi, Calterra again. Springfield, the Stubner squad, killing it. Zenith BJJ in second, and 417 BJJ in third. Again, Adult Nogi with CTA Springfield, Zenith BJJ, and then 417. Adult Gi, looks like it's a clean sweep in Springfield. Calterra again, Springfield for the Adult Gi. Second place, Gracie Baja Fallon. Third place, 417 BJJ. Shout out to Calterra Association Springfield and those guys. You clean swept it. So, and you can collect team points in AGF, and you can have a huge kids team and win so many medals and points with kids that you can win the overall. For example, it's about an accumulation of points with all of your students. So you can have some schools that are heavy no-gi or heavy gi, or only do one or only do the other, and still actually win the whole thing. Just depends on how many people they have, right? But for someone to clean sweep isn't very often. Isn't very often that you see a clean sweep. So shout out to those guys at Calterra, put in the hard work, and I know there's lots of tough competition out there as well. Congratulations to the guys in spring. All right, so we're going to talk about rules changes and what's going on in 2024. This is going to be for 2024, so I know right now it's September, the end of September. So this isn't for 2023. This is going to begin in 2024. We are going to put a bunch of new videos out, change the rule book, make it all up to date, all that good stuff for you. Put out new rules, videos, take off the old ones. I have a few places that I'm actually going. I'm going to USA Grappling Qualifiers and commentating in St. Louis in November, and in December, the beginning of December in New Orleans, I'm going to another USA Grappling Qualifier. But after setup, I was probably only going to do the videos with my referees. So that's when I plan on doing that, and we'll be able to unveil it in the end of December before we roll out for January. That being said, we won't leave you in the dark as to what the rule changes are. All right. So first and foremost, I'm going to end up showing you guys a video that I recorded earlier instead of just talking about it. I'm going to talk about one subject, but then I'm going to show you the other ones. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to eliminate ref decisions. One of the things that we don't like in jiu-jitsu, I certainly don't like, is having to leave it up to the judges, right? Leave it up to the ref, and people can be upset about that. But also, like, it's not cool for the refs. The refs don't always like it, especially when it's neck and neck, or there's just a really heated team, like it's Miami and you got to make a decision and the team that's screaming is the guy that you think should lose, so it's hard on the refs, it's hard on everybody that's competing as well too. So we made it easier by trying to find a way to eliminate ref decisions. So first and foremost, what we're going to do is go to a 3-tiered system. Okay, first and foremost is going to be the highest point value. So if red side has 4 points and blue side has 4 points, but red has 4 points for the back and blue has 4 points for 2 takedowns, red's back of point value was higher than the 2 takedowns that were 2 and 2. Okay, so they equal 4, of course, but the back is valued more as a whole overall as a position and awarded more, and so therefore that's the first thing that will go into the criteria for referee's decision if that's the case. We also have last to score. So if you have 2-2 and it's both a takedown apiece and it's even, then we are going to give it to the last person who scored. This will also help push the pace. So if someone scores on you, you're going to have to score back quickly. Even if they score and then they tie, it's going to leave it to that person who just scored last to win. So it will help push the pace and cause a little bit of urgency in the match. Third, we're going to have the top position dominance time, the ride time, right? Other grappling sports will call it ride time, but so it can be easily seen on how long someone is on top of the other opponent. Okay, so if they are equally matched and one person's on top in a self-defense situation, which we should be rewarding the points in a grappling match for anyways, it would be awarded the match because the top person is more dominant in the position. Now, if the bottom person's working, I know a lot of you out there are going to say, oh, the bottom guy, if he's working real hard, that's a totally different thing, because the top guy can be called for stalling and can be called for, things that are illegal, but I'm going to get into another subject when it comes to stalling. But so that should help push the pace as well. And that will give a penalty. So that would actually not be equal at that point, right? So that's something that we're going to have to really educate the refs on and educate the public on, is that 3-point tier system. Okay, so the first one is the highest point value, the second one is the last to score, and the third is the ride time. So we're going to try and eliminate referee decisions. All right, now we're going to go to a video that I recorded earlier at Mr. Oliveira's gym in Bradenton, Florida, and talk about the rules changes on the mats.
What's up, grapplers? Thanks for checking out the podcast. This is Mr. Oliveira. This is where me and my kids train at in Bradenton, Florida. So come by and check him out anytime. But today I asked him, I said, hey, can you help me explain what we're doing in 2024 with the AGF, the rule changes? He said, sure. So let's talk about it. One of those things we're talking about is 2 points for reversals. Right now, what you're accustomed to in jiu-jitsu is 2 points for a sweep, okay? Yes, we have knee on belly and we have takedown, but we're talking about changing positions and going from top to bottom on the ground. So the verbiage that you'll see in AGF coming up is going to be that one or both of the guys' chest has to face the ground in order, when the position changes, in order for the person to gain points. And this will eliminate a gray area. You'll see what I'm talking about when I show you, okay? So typically I have to either take a guy down, right? He goes on his back, right? And I have to maintain top position for 1,001. Referee will count 1,002, 1,003. I would get 2 points if I maintain top position. Or what I'm gonna do is I would snap my opponent down and I'd spin around towards his hips, right? And I could be in any variation of his hips. Don't forget, around his back. He can even be grabbing my pant leg. He just can't be hugging my leg like a crucifix, because this means he's still attempting a takedown. So any version of being around here, I hold it for 3 seconds. And if he pops up on his hands and feet, but his butt's in the air, no, hands and feet, but your butt's in the air. Yeah, but I have to make sure also that one knee goes down in order to get those points, right? So one knee has to be maintained down for 3 seconds in order for me to get points. I've shown that in other videos. Okay, so you have to put a guy on his back or get around towards his back, right? So that's the two ways that you're gonna get a sweep and a takedown. So the same concept here, okay? But if I'm in this position, I'm gonna give some examples of going from bottom to top. I'm in this position now, he's gotten his points, right? He's on top or however we may have gotten here. And I'm gonna get to the same position and get my points, right? So I take my arm, I hit a switch, I come inside. There's a million different ways we could do this, but now I've come around and I'm on his backside of his turtle, right? I don't like to say back because I don't have my hooks and people think hooks when they think back, right? But so I'm towards around his hips in the turtle position. So that's one way in which we can reverse the situation and get on top that way. You know, in the guard, a lot of people are used to this, right? The guard, or people used to arm drags, and you come up and I'm here, whether I have my hook in or not, I maintain the position, I get 2 points for a sweep, you know? But if he sits out and starts to do his thing and he comes around to, yeah, but come on top, he comes around my back, well, he reversed the situation, he's on top now, he should get the same equal points that I would for coming around being on top of him, right? Like, so it has to be maintained for 3 seconds, obviously, like anything else. A classic position that a lot of people ask about, of course, is the mount. Would they get position here? And I rolled him over, would I get 2 points here? Yes, you would get 2 points with a reversal in place, okay? So anytime we go from top to bottom, the guard doesn't necessarily have to be in play, right? There's a million different variations. Coach can put me in a Kimura, and he can roll me up there. Right, he would get his 2 points still for being on top. There's a plethora of ways, guys, that you can go from bottom to top. Yeah, we gotta do the back to north-south one. There's a plethora of ways you can go from bottom to top. That's not just using the guard, okay? And not all of them, when you say this in jiu-jitsu, when I talk about this, a lot of people just think the full mount one that I demonstrated, but there's so many different ways to change the position, go from bottom to dominant position and it not be a guard. And it's just become a part of the evolution of the game worldwide. I travel the world and teach seminars and have for several years. Literally tomorrow I fly to Berlin. It will be my 113th trip overseas to teach or work jiu-jitsu. Never have I gone on my own dime. It's always been to go teach jiu-jitsu or to go do AGF. I have a pretty good grasp of the scene in Europe and the United States and what people give us feedback at AGF. So that's why we've done this. This isn't just a whim, right? So people at the layman at a tournament can say, he just went from bottom to top, like every grandma, even sometimes black belts, but you know, and then you get into this nitpicking argument with, well, did he have a guard for this long? And yeah, and it turns into all that. This will simplify it for the reffing and for the audience. And hopefully one day when jiu-jitsu makes television, right? So the other variation we want you to work, you're gonna hear this verbiage, right? When we talked about the chest facing up. So if I have him down like this, for example, one or both of our chests is up. In this case, I took him down, my chest is down. If he were turtled, right, both of our chests are facing down. So that is what I mean by having one or more of our chests have to be down, all right? So if I were to, because this is the gray area I started the video off with, right? If we were to be like this is a common question that I get asked. I'm in back control. I'm on his back. I got my points, but then he pushes and bridges into me. And I get asked, well, Brandon, is this gonna be worth 4 points? Because now the guy reversed position. No, because our one or more of our chest is not facing the ground, okay? So if he were to spin around, that would be different, right? And now we'd be in a different position here. But yes, it would get 2 points for now him spinning around in this position. I wouldn't get it for rolling around on his back and both of us facing up. One or both of our chests have to be facing the ground. I hope I simplified that for you guys. There is one other little gray area I get asked a lot, and that's if he's on my back. And I do the classic peel, I pull him off, right? And I land in this north-south type position. There's a million different variations. Well, I would essentially have taken him from dominant position, peeled him off, and put him on his back. That would be 2 points as well. So I hope I cleared up those gray areas for you. We were gonna do official videos, like I said, in St. Louis, November at the USA Grappling Qualifiers. I'm gonna be there with all the cameramen, all that kind of good stuff. So I'm gonna do new 2024 videos. And I'm also gonna do videos in December in New Orleans. So we got more rule changes that I'll put out videos more. I don't wanna make this an hour-long video. That was enough, and that was just one rule change. And hope you like the new tier system of getting rid of referee decisions. That is so dope. Get rid of referee decisions. Thank you for checking us out. OliveiraJJ.com or BJJ.com? OliveiraBJJ.com if you want to go train.
All right, guys. Well, I hope that explains it good enough. Thanks for watching that video. Let's dive into the next subject. So up next, I'm going to catch up with my partner, Chris Carlino. I recorded a call earlier with him. I wanted to have him explain what's going on. So what we're talking about is ratings. So not rankings, but ratings. And Chris is the software engineer behind our company. He is the one who has created all of the apps that we did before. He's the one who created the registration software. He does the website. He does all of those things on the back end. Has helped integrate the layovers with live streaming and into our system and tracking it with points and people's athletes' accounts. I can go on and on. There's so many different technical things that Chris has done, but it's also best because it's his baby, the ratings, and that's his side of the house. Who better to hear it from than him? So here's a call that we had earlier today, and Chris can explain what ratings is. Hey Chris, how you doing? Good to finally get you on the horn. We've got a lot of important subjects to talk about. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. Just trying to stay busy.
Well, yeah, we're definitely busy. We can stay busy for sure. Speaking of busy, you've been busy working on the back end on a lot of the software updates, and who better to explain what's going on some of those things than you? Of course, I do know some of it, so I'm going to ask you some questions like a layman and not really understanding or knowing what's going on, and just have you explain it to the people so that they can get a better gist of what we're doing.
Okay, sounds good.
So right now, let's start with the current way. Like, what is the current ranking system in the jiu-jitsu team and individual scene? What's the normal ranking system?
The normal ranking system is what we did in the past. So basically what it did was if you had a competitor that traveled and did a bunch of tournaments and they earned gold medals or silver medals or bronze medals, they would get points based upon what their medal was for that tournament.
And which is 931, right?
Correct. And so the more tournaments you go to, it ultimately improves your total points, which then kind of works towards your ranking.
And so for the other people out there, the 931 that I was mentioning is 9 for gold, 3 for silver, 1 for bronze, team points and individual points.
Right, but it doesn't. The part where it's flawed is it doesn't account for how many matches you had. So if you have these kids or even adults that are outside the normal weight ranges for their age and their height and such, they could only have one match, and so they could get a default silver just for being in the division, and so they're going to get 3 points. You get enough of those tournaments of 3 points, you're going to do better than someone that actually wins their divisions but don't necessarily go to as many tournaments. And so that's one of the reasons why I felt like there needed to be something different.
Yes. And so now I've used the word ratings, R-A-T-I-N-G, right? Ratings instead of rankings. What is it that you're trying to do with ratings, and what's the difference between ratings and rankings?
Okay, so rankings are basically how you do compared to another person that's kind of your equal. So you're a black belt, I'm a black belt. So in the black belt realm, we are both compared to each other as far as our success, as far as wins and losses and how many points we accrue and stuff like that. So if we go back to the old rankings, if you and I face each other 10 times and you beat me 9 out of 10 times, you're going to amass a greater number of points, and so you'll end up having a higher ranking in that result. Same thing's going to happen with the ratings. If you beat me 9 out of 10 times, your rating's going to be higher. The problem is that your rating score may include matches that you've had prior to you getting your black belt. Maybe you just got your black belt last week, right? And I may have had my black belt for years, right? And so when you go against all these brown belts, and you may have been a very dominant brown belt, and so your rating score just went really, really high, right? Or even in the rankings, it's the same flaw. Your score goes up because you're beating a bunch of people that you're just superior to. hence why you got promoted to black belt. So you're going to have a higher rating, a higher ranking than myself. And so when you go against me, you win. And so that kind of creates your false score. So the ratings in its current format is just as flawed as the pre-existing ranking system. So that's why when I say the ratings is kind of a foundation, it's the basis of which we're going to do all our calculations on. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to value wins and who you won against versus did you just win? Did you win the whole division? And so that's one of the main differences is I'm valuing your win based upon the strength, based upon the rating of your opponent. And so when I say this is the foundation, it's kind of the building blocks. This is the concrete layer where the house is going to be built upon.
Coming up, don't forget we have USA Grappling, your chance to represent the United States of America. This is huge. I just got off the phone with the owner of, I wouldn't say the owner, but he's the head guy, of USA Grappling. He's the one who helped fund everyone and push everyone and get them over to Warsaw, Poland in August. And we won the No-Gi Day, by the way. So it's really going well with Team USA. So we have the USA Grappling qualifiers, 7 locations throughout the United States. And then you got to make it to the champions, make it to the team trials. Team trials guys that win there become Team USA members, and they get flown next year to Kazakhstan. And they're going to also go to the Combat World Games. I do believe that this year they go to the Combat World Games in October in Saudi Arabia. So they're doing all kinds of things to represent Team USA. It's really an awesome thing. It's an amazing thing for myself as a combat veteran in a red, white, and blue company to be able to give that opportunity for our guys. And we are definitely trying to push for 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles. That would be amazing. So anyways, we are still going to support Team USA and their fight to get to the stage in Kazakhstan at the United World Grappling Championships in 2024. So in St. Louis in November, we have our first qualifier, and our second one we have in New Orleans. So we have our North Central qualifier in St. Louis in November and our Southeast qualifier in New Orleans in December. The rest are in 2024, Los Angeles, Washington State, New Jersey, Dallas. So we have some other ones, Denver as well. So we have some other ones that are in 2024. And then ultimately the team trials going on in June of 2024. And that will decide the victors, will decide who is the Team USA members. So real excited for that. Look out for more information. I didn't want the show to totally turn into that this time. I don't have all the footage yet. We have a lot of exciting things. Those guys have come back with footage from winning the World Championships, and they followed some athletes. They did some documentaries. So there's some really cool things coming out about that, and be looking for that soon, okay? The European events so far, and I put and the struggle. Let's be honest. Okay, so before COVID, we were already in Europe. We've been to the Netherlands and Germany and Belgium and headed to Luxembourg. We had to cancel Italy and Portugal and many places because of Luxembourg as well, because of COVID and the lockdown. So we came back at the end of this year or last year, and now we have started to cycle back to events in Europe. But the struggle is it's a different market than the United States, right? I've been going to Europe since 2007, but it's been a struggle coming back from COVID. The market changed, the scene changed, but also the finances changed. The people over there are dealing with politics, just like we deal with politics in America, and they're dealing with financial politics as well too. So the other thing is the kids. I mean, in America, we have our tournaments are like, I don't know, to throw a number out, 65% kids, and then they could be adults as well too. Obviously they can be adults, there is adults, but I'm just saying, I feel that AGF usually is slightly heavier on the kids. We have events obviously that are heavier with the adults. We have some that are heavier no-gi, but it's like Europe is definitely way more heavy with the adults, and I'm really trying to gather the kids into the tournament system so that we can make phenomenal grapplers. I personally have black belts that I've taken from all the kids ranks to the adult ranks, and they're so phenomenal when they can soak it up when they're kids. So we're trying to give them that opportunity and give them a good stage and a great stage and show them what's coming out of America. So we're trying to really struggle. I mean, we've had events where we have like 100 adults with 5 kids. That's what I'm talking about. So if you know a kids program, if you know people in Europe and you know AGF, give them a shout. Tell them how we do it. Tell them how we take care of the kids, and we want to grow the kids program. I have kids that are first yellow belt and gray belt children. I have kids that are toddlers. They're going to be white belts soon. So I really believe in the kids program, and I don't want to just go chase the adults in Europe. I still want to pursue making large kids events and making special events for the kids as well too. Speaking of that, we have really added to a lot of places. So it looks like in my notes here, we have added, we added Czech Republic in 2024 in Prague and in Brno. We've added Poland with Poznan, Warsaw, and Włocławek. We have added Cologne, Berlin, and Frankfurt in Germany, let alone all the other events. These are just the new ones, right? We have added a lot of other events that are on our schedule that are not new. They're ones that we've gone to. For example, we've gone to Amsterdam several times, so that's not what I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about new events. So we've expanded into Czechoslovakia, we've expanded into Poland, and we expanded into other parts of Germany, and we've expanded to other parts of the Netherlands. So really excited for what's coming forward too. We're going to put out a lot more information about the future events that are coming in Europe. We're working on things in Bulgaria. We have ones in Austria that we have on the schedule. I did forget to mention that we have 2 booked in Vienna, Austria. We have so much information out there when it comes to Europe. The other struggle that we have over there is we have our own software. Primarily, all of Europe uses one software for registration, and we're not on that software. So we have to put the word out, old school, put the word on the street with social media, with flyers, tagging people, letting people know, because we don't want to switch our software. We have built it up so well. We have attached videos to our athlete profiles and the stats and information, the ratings that Chris is talking about. And so we use our own on our website only. And that's what we're about. And we want to keep it all in-house, and all of the information and all of the data and all of the awards and all of those things like that are connected to the athletes and to the company. What everyone's been waiting for, right? Like, how do you get sponsored by AGF? The AGF sponsorship program is going pretty well. Team AGF is pretty cool, I must admit. It is my partner Chris, it's his baby. I do sponsor people. I sponsor plenty of athletes, but Chris has built the program. He's built the program with some other helpers as well too. So if you're interested in getting sponsored by AGF, and what does that entail, right? What does that mean? First and foremost, it means free registration. But it also means you can get free registration for other people besides yourself, and other people from close to you to 3 hours away. There's different ways that it can benefit you. What the amateur grappler needs is they need lots of experience, and they need to not pay fees, right? So we're not paying people in a sense for the sponsorship to go compete at other events. I know it's crazy. There's people who ask me for money to go compete at other events. It's wild, but I guess they're new to the game. But so it's so that they can go to other events, see more faces, compete for free, test their skills, hone their skills, put themselves out there, represent the company, put themselves on more videos, and represent the brand and build themselves and build their brand. So that's what Team AGF is about. And so you need to get on Facebook and get into our sponsored athlete group. There's a few thousand people in there, and we are in there constantly. Stay active in there, but first and foremost, go to AGF tournaments. Go make yourself known to the event director that's there. Take a selfie with them. That's how you get some proof, right? You'll notice on a lot of our social media, there's a lot of people that take pictures with the event directors and with some of the pit bosses and stuff like that they see over and over in a lot of these events. We have a great rapport from all of them, or with them, but it's a vibe at AGF, that's for sure. A lot of tournaments, when I used to go to tournaments, I used to get very upset, and coaches would be messing with the brackets and bad calls with refs, and you could be upset throughout the day and leave kind of overall agitated. I didn't like that. So at AGF, we try to have this positive vibe and this great vibe, and it's like a good event that's going on. So that's why you'll see lots of pictures with the pit people too, and the event directors, not just because they're taking a photo to show that they were there, but man, it's a vibe, you know? And so that's what we're trying to bring to Europe. It's what we're bringing to other parts of the United States of America. Just booked Missoula, Montana again today, so we'll look out for that in January and in May of 2024. I know a lot of people were looking for that recently, but facilities are scarce in some places like that where the weather's different. So when the weather's different and people can only go indoors, then for certain sports, then those facilities get taken up real fast. And That's what happened in Missoula, but now we got it out, so we'll see you guys in January and in May in Missoula. And so we're bringing the AGF 5 to the Canadian region as well too. Spoke to some guys at the Canadian JiuJitsu scene, and there's a federation there. There's things to be done there. There's business to be done there in terms of legality of crossing the border and all that kind of stuff with us and our equipment. But we are excited to make a step forward and attempt to start going into Canada. We definitely have Vancouver and Edmonton and Calgary on the West Coast side for us that we have got our eye on, and Toronto and Montreal on the East Coast side. So you'll definitely end up seeing AGF in Canada as soon as possible. Shout out to all my Canadian friends. I have trained with a lot of guys and have a lot of Canadian friends that are students, and that I have trained with that are higher ranks than me in other countries. So shout out to all the Canadian people. Can't wait to see you guys soon. Next week, I will have just gotten back from Berlin, and I will be talking about my interview with Felipe Cansado, and probably have some footage, obviously, from my trip to Berlin, but also we'll have the results from New Jersey, and we'll have the results from Corpus Christi and Birmingham. Shout out to the guys in Birmingham. That has really grown. That might be a 2-day event in 2024. It has gotten really large, and it's getting tight in there, so we might have to make it a 2-day. So excited for that, and talking to the facility manager for that today. Once again, I'm your host, Brandon Quick, and co-owner of the American Grappling Federation. Thanks for listening to all the information that we have put out for the grappling community by the American Grappling Federation. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Thank you for your time, and see you guys next week.